We are on our way to the first meet of the season. Pretty excited. This week was an easy week for me because the 3 weeks prior to that were my hard weeks. If you saw the last episode, well, no, whatever episode that was, those 3 weeks were maybe the best 3 weeks I've ever put together. It was like one day after another was just a new personal best, either in the weight room or in the pool for whatever it was I was doing. And then to have this week coincide with being an easy week is great. So I'm pretty pumped. If you saw the opener there, I am not a morning person. That was 6 a.m. when I was eating my breakfast. And I am also not a breakfast person the day of a meet. Normally just for practice, I don't like eating before I go to practice. I really don't like eating before I race. The butterflies are going really heavy in my stomach. And I think most nutritionists would probably tell you that, it's okay if you go light on your breakfast. I just can't. I have to force feed myself on those days that I race because, I have to get through 4 hours, and at some point my stomach is gonna start growling at me, and I just like to make sure I'm fueled, so I make it happen. We are on our way right now, heading to the pool for the 200 breast today, and then the 100 breast tomorrow. The 200 is supposed to go off at like 9:46 on the timeline. So let's take a look at what a timeline looks like for a meet. If I'm swimming at 9:46 and I try to get 45 minutes of downtime between finishing warm-up and racing, which is about 15 minutes more than I used to plan on, all through college and afterwards it was 30 minutes. I really like 45 minutes. And we can get into that in a second. And my warm-up takes me about 40 minutes. We'll talk about warm-up. And then about 15 minutes before that, I'm doing my activation that just like I do at the pool for practice. So really, I'm trying to get to the pool at about 8 o'clock for my 9:46 start time. The 200 in season is a very different race for me than it is when I'm, shaved, tapered, and ready to go. Oh, 2 miles. Got it. For so long, I feel like I really struggled with it. I dreaded it. I was just flat out scared of it. And I didn't really know how to swim it, so I pretty much never had a race that I was happy with. And for the longest time after college, I avoided the race completely. And then for some reason, I decided a few years ago I would just start swimming it to have fun, like just total fun, try to go distance per stroke, like 0 strokes or 1 stroke on the first 25 kind of thing, and just really stretch it out. And so I'd do that about once a year when I went to a meet to swim the 100 breast, which I was really focused on. And I'd go anywhere from like 213 to 218, short course yards. So really not pushing it. But it was great. I'd get out after the race and I'd be like, that was nice. It was early this year that I decided, you know what, I'll put a little something into it this time and just see what happens. And I went like 204, which was just a couple seconds off my best, not really trying that hard. And from there, I just kind of kept chipping away at it, pushing it more and more and figuring out how I needed to race it. But I still keep my in-season meets in the 200 just fun. And so today, all I'm looking to do is average about 3 strokes a length. I may pick it up a little bit for the last 50, just depending on if I got somebody next to me and I don't want to lose. But yeah, it's a great way to start a meet. Not as much pressure. The 100 is what I really care about tomorrow, and we'll get to that when I drive there tomorrow. As far as my warm-up goes, it looks something like this. I hop in, do about a 300 that's at like 140 heart rate, and I'm hoping to put up a decent time, right? I mean, relatively speaking. I do it 75 free, 25 back. After that, I take about a minute and a half or so, and then do a 300 kick that's pretty easy. Easy enough that my heart rate comes down to about 120. And in that, I start off with flutter kick, and then I work into a little bit of breaststroke kick. After all these years, my knees are not quite what they used to be, and so I do have to ease into my breaststroke kick. So I do a little bit of piston kick and then some gentle breaststroke kicks. After that, I throw in some drill work where I pick up the pace a little bit more. It's mostly butterfly because it's complementary to breast, and breaststroke drills, just working on getting up and getting forward, setting myself up to, because that's what I'm really working on, is getting forward on my stroke. After about 300 of that, that's usually broken up into 50s or 75s, I'll go 3 100s breaststroke kick, descend 1 to 3, and it's about 70% to maybe 92.5%, and just looking to get those legs fired up, because I've noticed that throughout my career I do best in racing breaststroke when my legs are fired up and ready to go. After that 300, I start doing a little bit of DPS, so I might do a 50 that is 1 stroke down, 1 stroke back, looking to hit about 32, maybe 33, 33 if I'm not shaved and tapered. Then if I like it, I'll move on. If I don't like it, I might take a minute and do it again. After that, I'll do a 50 that's like 2 strokes down, 2 strokes back, trying to hit 29 or 30 if I'm not tapered like today. And then after that, it's a few 25 sprint, maybe 3 with a decent amount of rest, cool down 100 or so, and that's it. I don't do any dives. I have found that the best dive I do is always on the first go, and so I just let my dive in the race be the first one that I do. And then after that, I head back to my bag and start doing my pre-race routine, which is a little bit of stretching, staying loose, bouncing around, keeping the heart rate from settling all the way back down, and getting my legs up the wall to move the blood back down out of my legs, and then it's race time. So let's see how it goes today. Fingers crossed. All right, we're at the meet. Time to do the activation stuff. Alright, it's 8:15. That means it's about time to head over to the warm-up pool, get that done, and then get ready to race. Here we go. Okay, that was warm-up. It's about 9 o'clock. The meet just got started. Warm-up was like 1600. Did not feel very good, but that's alright. We'll see what happens in the race. I'm cautiously optimistic, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so I just finished the 200 breast. That was borderline terrible. I was, like I said, I was hoping to go 210, and I went under 210 with averaging 3 strokes a length, and I ended up going 213.9, so basically 214, and averaging almost 4 strokes, is just a touch under 4. Let's take a look at it. I don't know how good this video is, but let's take a look at it in like, 2 times the speed so we don't have to endure too much of it. So I had a really hard time holding my line off the walls. Normally I'm awesome on my pullouts, and the pullouts just weren't there today. When I pulled my arms down, normally I get huge acceleration and I beat, everybody in the field. And today that just wasn't the case. It wasn't there. Like I said, before the pull down and after the pull down, I had trouble keeping my line, meaning keeping my body, level in the water without my legs kind of floating up on me. The stroke itself was kind of in and out. It was okay. Maybe better than I was at this time last year doing this. I don't know. It's hard to know what to make of this. I'm not going to read too much into it. It's an in-season meet. And on any, tomorrow or next week, I could come back and do a 200 breast and it could be like 5 seconds faster. It really doesn't matter right now. I just have to, learn from it, keep working those pullouts and working on my line. But I think really what'll happen is when I taper, it'll all come together. I'm not in a place where I can swim a good 200 breast in season. I have a lot of muscle that needs a lot of rest, and so trying to do a 200 breast when I'm still pretty much broken down, that's the result. But some rest, some time, it'll all be good. Tomorrow's the 100 breast. I will see you in the morning for that, and we'll talk about how I can make that go better than today. See ya. Really not a morning person. All right, this is day 2, heading to the meet. It's about an hour to get there. I try to turn my seat warmers on, have my pullover on, because it's just not very good for your body to roll out of bed and sit in a car for an hour. So wake up the muscles, try to keep them loose by keeping them warm. Today's the 100. Yesterday was the 200. As you know, didn't like it. I obsessed over it all day. Yesterday, looking at the video, trying to figure out what might have happened, but it was just an off day. So today's a new day, a new opportunity to swim fast. I'm feeling better than I did yesterday, so hopefully that'll stay with me. I always tell my swimmers, don't think about the time. Think about the process and how you want to swim it. Today I'm definitely thinking about the time. I'd like to go a new in-season best, which would be 55 anything. Take it out about 25 high, bring it back 29 high. That'd be nice. Yesterday was, I was kind of playing with the 200. Wasn't taking it very seriously. Today's serious. Try to have some fun with it, but I do want to attack the race, get after it, and see if I can hang on. So we'll be there in a few. We'll see how today goes. Okay, so that was definitely a better warm-up. I did about 1,300 instead of 1,600 yesterday. Everything felt pretty good. I was getting up pretty well. I was getting forward pretty well on my breaststroke. The legs still weren't there, but that's not surprising. They're the biggest muscles. They take the longest to recover. So I'm not too worried about that. I know my kick isn't going to be there today, but hopefully I can still feel sharp, or at least sharper than yesterday. I got about 30 more minutes until the 100, and gotta say I'm kind of excited. So let's see what happens. Okay, so 56.7, not bad. I know on the drive over I said I wanted to be like 55 high or 56 low, but I thought about it a little bit more after that and realized that I have never done it's been a long time since I have done a meet in October, anything really before US Open in December. 56.7 is actually a pretty good swim for certain no rest, no shave in a brief. So I'm happy with it, especially after yesterday's tragedy. Man, it was good. Let's take a look at it. Real happy with the dive. No, the first 25 was good. I was pretty much where I wanted to be with my technique. I was explosive going forward, getting my head down. The second 25 was pretty good too. So the first 50 was right where I wanted to be, 25.8. And then the wheels started to come off a little bit. At the turn, I was like, oh shoot, this is going to be something. At the 75, it really started to come apart. And the last 6 strokes, I feel like I was spinning. I lost my explosiveness. I never really had strong legs because those are still shot. They need to rest. But, hey, even though it was a 5-second spread between first and second 50, it was a good sign that I've got some early speed in me. I just need some rest to get that late speed. And what I've got next is 3 weeks of hard training before I pretty much end my training cycle, in a significant way anyway. After these 3 weeks, it's basically heading into taper for US Open and KMSC Pro-Am. And so I'm going to give it everything I got for these 3 weeks and really push it so that I'm happy with that second 50 when it really counts at the end of the season. And I think it'll be good. I'm optimistic. So I don't know what the next episode is going to be yet, but by the time we do our editing magic, I will know the title. And so here it is, the next episode. See you then.